All right, in our last lesson, we were solving one-step inequalities. Just to recap, literally you're doing one step. So for the first one, we had to subtract. Second one, we added. Third one, we divided. And then the fourth one, we multiplied. Additionally, we are graphing them as well. Remember, an inequality has multiple solutions. So if x is greater than 4, that means it could be 5, it could be 6, it could be 7, and so on. If it is greater than or less than, it's going to be open because that means that it cannot be 4, but it can be anything greater than 4. Same thing like this. It cannot be 5, negative 5 rather, but it can be anything lower. If it's a less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, those are going to be filled in because it can be those numbers, they are included. So today we're going to start off, before we go into two-step inequalities, there's one special rule that I'm actually going to highlight. If you guys have, if you guys were able to print this, then highlight it as well. If not, I write this down in your notebook if you're writing notes. You'll definitely need this all up through high school when you guys do inequalities. So what I want you to notice, and I'm going to actually refer back to number 3. So number 3 and 5 are very similar, but if you notice, the coefficient in front of B is a positive 4. So if you have a positive coefficient, you're going to divide, everything's going to stay the same. If you have a negative coefficient, you're going to divide, okay? You're going to divide, but after you do your division, so 16 divided by negative 4, that's going to be negative 4. What you have to do is you need to reverse your symbol. So now x is going to be less than negative 4. Okay, so if we were to check that, okay, so I'm going to do a little check just to prove that to you. So if x is less than negative 4, that means that it could be negative 5. Okay, so negative 4 times negative 5, is that greater than 16? So 20 is greater than 16. So that checks. Okay. Well, let's try a different one. Let's pretend we didn't flip it. Okay, so x would be greater than negative 4. If x is greater than negative 4, let's pick 0. Okay, so negative 4 times 0 is less than 16. So that would be if we didn't flip our inequality. I'm sorry. You always want to use the original one. So negative 4. Okay, so notice when you do your check, you're going to use your original one. This is our solution set. Let me put a box around this. Okay, so if x is that going to be greater than 16? Well, 0 is not greater than 16. So that's false. So that means that this is the correct answer. So if we were to graph this, and yesterday or last lesson, I said that you guys don't have to do it the way I graphed it last time. The way I graphed it last time is if it was going to the left, then I would start on the right and count down. If it was going to the right, then I would start on the left and count up just to fit it all. But this is just another way to do it. Okay? So again, if you notice, you know that the circle is going to go above negative 4 because that's our solution, but then we have to think about which way we need to draw our arrow, and we just checked that if we went towards 0, that is false. Any of these numbers would be false, okay? But if I shade the other way, then it ends up being true. Okay, so the same thing goes when you multiply. So up top here, we had to multiply by 6 because it's d divided by 6. Okay, so we had to multiply by 6, and this does work. Okay, so if you did 12 divided by 6, that would be 2. 2 is greater than or equal to 2. So that one does work. For this one, again, we are going to multiply. Okay, we're gonna, I think that's better. We're gonna multiply by -2 to get rid of that. Multiply by -2. Okay, this will cancel. So m, and then 4 times -2 would be -8, and that symbol needs to flip. Okay, now notice I'm just reversing my symbol. I'm not changing anything else. Okay, so then -8, -7, -6, -5. This is a good review of our number line as well. It's going to be open and point that way. Okay, again, if we checked it, so I would pick 0. 0 would be over here, and it is in our solution set. So 0 divided by -2 is 0. 0 is less than 4, so that does check. Okay, so this is going to be the correct answer. Okay, on to 2 steps. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to point out is, don't call me after midnight. Okay, when we did solving equations, we used don't call me after midnight, right? So distribute, combine like terms, move our variable, right? And then add or subtract, and then multiply or divide. Okay, for 2 steps, we're actually only going to do the last 2. Okay, so you always want to add and subtract before you multiply and divide. Additionally, I do always want my variable to be on the left side. So with number 4, we're going to practice that. Okay, so again, the first thing, we always want to add or subtract. So, and I want to get x by itself. So I'm going to circle that. Okay, so I want everything away from that x. So first I'm going to subtract 3. So 2x is greater than 8. And then I multiply or divide. So x is greater than 4. Okay, so this is going to be open and going to the right if I graph it. Okay, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now these numbers do not matter to me. Okay, if you want to start with 0 all the time, as long as you have enough tick marks to get to the number that we need, you can go 2, 4, 6, 8 if you want. Doesn't matter to me as long as you can fit it on there. So it's going to be open and to the right. So again, it can be any number bigger than 4, even 4.001, 4.000001. It just can't be exactly 4, or else it won't be true because there is no equal sign. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so we have -2 plus x divided by 2. So we want to get x by itself. I want to get rid of this first. Okay, so this is a -2, so I'm going to add 2 to get rid of that. Okay, this cancels to 0. This cancels to 0. So we just drag this down, rewrite this. Okay, -10 plus 2. Type it in your calculator, or let's think about it. The signs are different, so take the sign of the larger absolute value. It's going to be negative, and subtract. 10 minus 2 is 8. Okay, and then our last step, we are going to multiply by 2. Okay, opposite of division is multiplication. So x is less than -16. Now notice you might be saying, oh wait, but I multiplied a negative. If this number on the other side is already negative, that's okay. It's this number that's important. If this number were negative, okay, so whatever number is attached to the x or whatever variable, if that number is negative, then you're going to reverse your symbol. This one is not, so it's going to stay. Okay, so it's going to be open and to the left, sorry. Open and to the left. So I'm going to start on the right. So 16 17.8. Now you guys might be asking me, I only need that one number, so why do I have to fill in the number line all the way? Please fill in the number line all the way. This is hopefully helping you remember your positive and negative numbers. So we're doing a little bit of review as we learn something new. Okay, next one. So we have negative 9x, I want x by itself, plus 3 is greater than or equal to 12. So I would like to subtract this 3 first. We'll get rid of the constants and then deal with the coefficients. So that would be 9. Okay. Now we are dividing by a negative 9. Okay. So we're dividing by a negative. So we need to reverse the inequality symbol. Okay. We're dividing by a negative. So x 9 divided by negative 9 is going to be a negative 1. Positive divided by negative is negative. And then this is going to reverse. Okay, so this is going to be closed or filled in. And to the left. So 1, 2, 4, 5. And that makes sense because this is a negative. And we need this whole thing to be greater than or equal to 12. So we need this to be a negative number to make this back to positive. That's the only way we're going to get it to be bigger than 12. So that does make sense. So it's filled in and to the left. Okay, I also don't care how long this arrow is or how long this line is because you're drawing an arrow. Okay, as long as you have that arrow on the end, it's good. Okay, now I wanted to finish off with one example that has my variable on the right side. So if your variable is on the right side, step number 1 I would like you to do is to rewrite it in the opposite order. Okay, so now I'm not going to change this order of these. You can because it's commutative, but I don't want to overcomplicate it. So all I'm going to do is whatever the expression is on the right side is now going to be on the left side. Okay. Since I'm flipping the whole thing, this is an inequality, not an equation. So this symbol does matter. If I'm going to now have this reversed, I also have to flip my symbol. Okay, this is not a rule like this one. All this is saying, so if I were to say x is greater than or equal to, or is less than or equal to negative 1, that means negative 1 is greater than or equal to x. So if you reverse the whole thing, you need to flip your symbol as well. Okay, so you can either do this at the beginning or at the end. I think the beginning is easier. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that 15 first because it's our constant. So I get 10x is less than or equal to negative 10. Divide both sides by 10. Okay, again, my coefficient was positive. Okay, up here it was negative, so I had to reverse. So nothing's going to happen. So x is less than negative, or less than or equal to negative 1. Okay, I meant to be boxing all my answers. So sorry. Okay, so this is going to be closed. And again to the left. So it's literally the same thing as above. Closed and to the left. Okay, and that's all I have for you today. So make sure that you complete the Google form and let me know if you have any questions.